when you said it, Bill, you said it's like post-traumatic stress syndrome. And if you would, please elaborate on that, because you said it so eloquently in this deal.
Well, TJ, that's the thing, and I would say to any of you listening out there that if you need to pull back off this case, you probably should have been already done it. And if you haven't done it, do it for the sake of your families. I've lost the most precious person in my life. And if I had to do all over again, I would have never done it. I don't care. I would never have done it if I had to do all over again. But that being said, I did it, and I stepped up like a man. I'm taking it in stride the best that I can. But I want to tell you something, brother. It is the most horrific thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And if I could turn back time, I would. And it's a shame that every day somebody's child comes from missing. It's a shame that people don't care about their children, that they would allow this to happen. And some people put it on the line. Me, as you know, TJ, for the first 10 days I was up there, I logged about 200 to 220 man-hours in the case personally, not a team, myself, in the swamp doing everything. And there were some communicational things where I was out of contact with loved ones and different things that I felt that around the next corner I'm going to find this girl, and I will come back the hero. I mean, just like our boys when they go overseas, they're going to go get the bad guys, and they're going to come back, and they're going to receive a hero's welcome. Well, today I've received phone call after phone call after phone call from military veterans that said, hey, that's the first acknowledgement that I got since I came back home 20, 30, 40 years ago, and I commend you for your service. And I said, I commend you for your service, and I trust that you didn't lose as much as I lost. Even though this wasn't a war, it damn sure seemed like one. And, things change up out there, TJ, and, lives change, and we can't expect your calling to go do this or my calling to go do this to reflect to our wives and our girls and folks we left at home. And this came full circle to me Thanksgiving night. Somebody asked me what kind of trouble you got into, and I told them, and they were hot on the internet, and I helped them find it, and there's the takedown story. And, people in our lives have heard enough of this. They've heard enough of it, and they don't want to hear no more. And I realized that, you know what, I don't want to hear no more. I don't want to do it no more. I don't give a damn. That's why today is my last BNN show. And, it was a close time of coming together with some folks that understood where I was coming from. And, through the case, like before this case, I mean, I was jet-setting international stuff, and I had my girl with me, and we went on cases and did some stuff overseas and had some nice things going on. And then I got involved in this case and began fighting with Kim Bocasio, as you all know, and I thought that she had tried to get me locked up and every damn thing else, and we were arch enemies and fighting like hell. And just to go to show you how funny life is, I have moved in with Kim Bocasio and her family now for a temporary time until I can put my feet back on the ground, and they're on the ground, but I'm stepping just not too high, and I will try to pull it together, but it touched me last night. We all know that there's Mr. Holmseth out there, and I spoke about that on the show, and there's folks like that would post sibling children on the internet and try to make alliances that they were somehow involved in this. And I watched that woman and her husband and I spoke while she was on the phone. Please get off the phone with this guy. I tried to win him over. My girl tried to tell me, stay off the phone with him. Don't even waste your time talking to this guy. And sure enough, we were right. This morning, he already automatically flew back some emails saying this, that, and the other, and I knew it wouldn't go right. But I heard her pour her heart out, because she was pouring her heart out over children that had their names and their faces, their images posted on his site. It's wrong. It's wrong for people to involve their personal stuff all up in it. It was wrong for me to do what I did last week. I was bitter angry, bitter tore up, couldn't understand why anybody couldn't feel what I feel in this case. And you can see it still touches me deeply. And if I could turn it back, I would. And there's a whole bunch of us probably that would have ran off to Canada or some damn place, just like during the war. But we feel just like that Charlie Daniels song that I said, still in Saigon. Hell, I was still in Satsuma, man. Even though I was in Fort Lauderdale, it was on my mind every night. I came back. I paid no attention to my girl. I paid no attention to my family. I wanted to find out the truth of what happened to this child. And today I contacted Pastor Grun after I came from church, and I spoke to him for some time, and I said, Pastor, I hope that I did the best job that you would have thought for me to do. But, sir, you got to relieve this mantle from me. I cannot carry it any longer, and I refuse to. Even if you say do it, I ain't going to do it. I cannot go in one step further. I have lost, as I said, the gold and the silver. That's meaningless. That'll come back. I've already started recovering my finances, and I will be fully recovered in a few months. But the thing of it is the most precious, precious thing that I ever lost. And I shot at them pretty hard last week. Just those things you can't replace. That you can't replace. And you drive them crazy. Just like these soldiers when they came back, 2 of them had committed suicide already. 20% of them have lost their girlfriends and their wives. Some of them just can't adapt. And the first thing that a soldier will do is he'll hook back up with soldiers because soldiers understand what they've been through. And they'll go back for another tour of duty. You wonder why a guy goes to Vietnam or any war 3, 4, 5 tours of duty. Man, he gets decorated, man, he's beautiful in his uniform. And either that or his mom will get a flag because people just don't understand. And, Pastor Regan and I had talked. Pastor Regan was a rat, a tunnel rat. And a tunnel rat in Vietnam was a guy that would go out with a very small platoon, and he would look for bombs and landmines and different things so that the other troops, when they came through, wouldn't get hit. Well, he was on the search one day, and a bouncing Betty got him. And I said by accident, blew off 3 of his legs, but I meant 3 of his limbs. And his wife said she had married a man with 2 legs and 2 arms, and he wasn't involved in all this crazy nonsense, and she could not go another day. He was driving her insane, so she left him. And God put another woman in his life, and this woman's a good woman. I never met his first wife, but I know this one is a good one. That happens a lot. And I told him, I says, listen, if I could build you a new leg or do something for you, to ease that pain, because I know what that pain's all about. And I said, look in the eyes of these police officers. I mean, we've been kicking their ass and tell them, bring the FBI in and do this and do that. But let me tell you something. Look in the eyes of Jeff Hardy, the sheriff who's mantled this on his shoulders. Look at Dominic Piscatello. A week or so ago, he's in the hospital. Peggy Cohn had a collapse, a breakdown. Everybody that's been involved in this case has suffered some kind of way in their family lives or financially or mentally or anything. And then people say, oh, they're crazy. They might hurt you. They might hurt themselves. Not everybody does that. I did have suicide that ran in my family, but most of the men had killed themselves before 30. I'm 52. I'm past that. But there has been a couple times that this case has drugged me bug-ass bananas to where I would fight a full-grown man. In fact, part of the reason last Saturday I was defending someone's honor, and I got my ass beat pretty bad. I'm still suffering with 3 broken ribs. My eyes have held up, as you've seen the pictures. But I've decided to clean myself up and pull all that Satsuma crap off of me and get the hell up out of this case. Listen, I started the fight. I started a good fight here. Somebody else can finish it, but I will caution you. Make sure that whoever's riding with you or helping you or standing beside you, make sure you have that commitment and make sure everybody knows exactly what you're committing to. TJ, I've seen you suffer. I've talked to you personally off the lines. Won't put your business out there in the street. But everyone, the only person that I've seen that really doesn't have it that bad is Simon, you and Jan, because you are there together all day, running your business and handling business and keeping that blogger news out there and keeping this little girl out there. And that type of marriage, that type of relationship probably would work in this, but it will wear on your ass after a while. And it will you'll have to wash more dishes.
I can assure you that, if Jan and I hit Putnam County, there'd be trouble.
Well, let me just finish this for you. You stay the hell away from Putnam County.
We love you.
Everybody told me, I should involve my girl in Putnam County, and I'll tell you why I don't do things like that. If it's a safe case and it's something real good, I know what to involve my girl in. One of the things that she felt really bad about, not to put it out there, but remember when I caught the terrorist? Now, in June of 2010, I have to go before a federal grand jury again because they're going to bring this fella up on some serious charges. Now, had I not been the only one, and I'm the only one, in fact, my partner, for whatever obvious reasons, declined to be on ABC World News. He's black, and these are skinhead fellers, and they got bombs and grenades, and they're going to blow up military bases and shit like that. Well, you just don't want to go giving everybody credit for that on national news. But I will tell you this. This lady was with me for 37 days. I would have gave up after 15 days because, by God, if I can't catch them in 10 to 15 days, I ain't even going to stay with it. She gave me the stamina and the strength to stay in it. And unfortunately, at the very end, well, fortunately, too, that when I came back home and went back and revisited the crime scene, within 12 hours, I had the guy caught. She never received any recognition. She never received any, which probably is a good thing, but I just will tell you before your national audience that there was a woman behind me that cost me success on some of these bigger cases that I've worked. And this particular case right here, I couldn't expect anyone to stand behind me on this one because this is the most perverted mess of bullshit that I've ever seen in my life. Some say it's the cover-up, and some say it's this. I don't know what it is, Simon, but I tell you this, brother. It is related to stress disorder because I, by God, have been suffering some major stress over it.
Okay. Look,
Sorry, man. I promised myself that I'm going to bite my lip, stick a needle in my eye, whatever I got to do, and I ain't going to show no raw emotions. But I'm going to tell you, brother, this has put a toll on my ass that I'm a full-grown ass man. I ain't scared of nobody or nothing. You know that. I have taken down the baddest of the baddest, and I've hung with the best of the best. But, boy, I'm going to tell you what, this has kicked my ass bad.
I'm pretty certain that it's kicked a lot of people's asses. And, here we are coming into the holiday season. It can't be easy on the families.
Hell no, brother. More people commit suicide between Thanksgiving and Christmas than they do ever. And, I've made it, I'm totally not even in that direction at all, but this is a depressing time of year. A lot of people just don't have money. I mean, you take everything that an average person has, less money, personal problems, relationship problems, Christmas time, depressing, everything else, and then add to that this. I want to tell you what, brother. The Bible says that God would not put more on your shoulders than you can carry. My knees are buckled. I got sticks tied to my knees, holding them together, because I just have never been. And I've done some major cases. I've caught over 8,000 fugitives, not to be bragging. That's a lot of numbers. That's 3 major prisons full. And I tell you what, brother, this has kicked my ass. Kicked it.
Jan, I want to bring you in. Let's get the ladies' view.
Oh, God. I don't know if that's smart, brother. I mean, I don't know if that's a smart move, brother.
No, here we are. Christmas
time is family.
Yeah.
You go, you do your shopping, you do your decorations, you have your family around, and this is a time where people shouldn't be fighting. They should be loving one another and be thankful for what you do have instead of what you don't have.
Yeah.
The children should be with their families and they should be happy. And all these families that don't have their children like Ron and even Crystal, both sides of the family. Right now they shouldn't be fighting. They should be sticking together. And they should be holding on to what they've got and pray together and work together with this and bring this little girl home instead of fighting with each other, saying this one's that one, this one's that way, this one's that way, and they go against each other constantly, and it's not working. They have to go and work together on this. Put their differences aside. Especially during the holidays. The holidays, to me, is the most beautiful thing in the world. And, I mean, Christmas Day is my most favorite day in the world. I remember it as a kid that I used to love it, and I still love it. I'm 54 years old, and I still love it just as much.
Let me tell you something, Jan. It took me a while to get it done, and I didn't know if I was going to get it done. It was depressing me, but I have a beautiful chalet that I had put a deposit on. Airline tickets, first class. My girl had never seen a snowfall and all that. And that was my company's after Christmas present surprise. And all that shit right there goes right out the window. And why? Because of somebody stole the little kid or killed a little kid or did something with a little kid. And I hope when they get them, I hope they allow me to be on the jury or wear the black mask or whatever the hell it is to pull the switch. Because, by God, I pulled the switch 5 times. There won't be no smoking going on. That shit will blow up. Because whoever did this evil shit has got to pay. Whoever did this, man, this has wrecked lives, all kinds of lives, and they need to pay the full God price.
Whoever done this has affected more lives.
Oh, man, just one little girl. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
They have affected our lives.
Yes,
They've
ma'am.
affected yours. They've affected TJ's and all the bloggers out there that have really worked and that really care about this child.
Yeah.
They have affected the whole world, and this is not just in the United States. This is everywhere. And
That's right.
on Christmas morning, I'm going to be thinking, is Haleigh going to be home? I mean, will she be
Not
there?
me. I'm not trying to run her from far from my mind. I'm trying to convince myself this was all bullshit. There was no little Haleigh. There was no little girl missing. You know, I'm trying to convince myself that this was a bad dream, girl. This was a bad dream.
I wish it was, though, but I can't forget her. I have to leave her in my mind because, I mean, I just feel like she should be home. And, I mean, this is what has brought us all together right now.
Okay.
This little girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, get her off the subject, man. She's killing me. She's killing me, bro. She's killing me.
All right. I do want to switch subjects. You know, Cobra, you're a great friend of ours. You're a family friend, and you're welcome here anytime you want to come. TJ.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk bloggers. Now, this gets you and I into trouble almost every week. But
Are we talking about people who blog for a quote living, or are we talking about people who participate on boards?
Oh no, we're talking about quote living.
Could I interrupt you guys for a second, please? Just honor me 1 second. Could I interrupt you both?
Sure.
I would take this moment to sign out of here, brother. I'm catching. I can't go no further. And I appreciate y'all for having me in there. It was a kind of a connection point, but I cannot go one step further. I love you, and I'll keep in contact with you. But I want to sign off officially right now, and y'all can have at it. And I appreciate you. God bless y'all too, and God bless you, TJ. Stop it, did he?
See you the 14th.
Did he? No, hey, did he? Don't you think I'm no sissy, buddy? Because I'll come kick all your mafia boys' ass. You can tell them that, all right?
I will, Cobra.
I need to be a badass, but I got a heart, brother. And I just can't do it no more, man. I can't do it no more, and I ain't quitting. I just got to stop. I don't give up and I don't quit, but I got to stop because it's ripped my heart the fuck out.
Cobra, you recover.
Take care.
I will recover. God bless you guys, man. Peace out.
Bless you, Cobra.
Okay, let's take a quick phone call. We have.
That would be best.
We have.
What you want to do? What you want to do?
We have someone coming in from the 337 area code. 337, you're on the air. What's your name and what's your question?
This is Lindy Lou. I'm trying to catch my grip here with Cobra. He's killing me. First of all, Cobra, you need to rest. Just get away from it. Overall.
Absolutely.
That's enough said. Yeah. I think that everybody needs to, first of all, take a chill pill.
Yeah.
Get back on track.
Yeah.
Above all, just about Haleigh, and just like our own children, we need to realize that some sometimes that happens, and we have to put that aside and put the child first. And that's not what's happening with this little girl for some reason. And that's maybe why we're all so strong, heartfelt about it, because we have to put her first. With Christmas around the corner, I think we just need to raise her awareness a little bit and get it out the negative side. Raise it to the positive. With Christmas, people, their hearts are open, and that's what you need to focus on. Stop the hating, stop the fussing, the fighting, and everything. With the FBI thing that came out yesterday in the article, maybe taking everybody one flyer, get your Christmas card. We usually all have one extra. We don't know who to send it to. And send it to the governor. Send it to Hardy, just so they get it in the mail. They open it thinking, wow, I got a Christmas card, and here comes her picture. If he gets enough of them, maybe they'll get the hint.
I wouldn't do that to Hardy. Governor Christ, go for it. But if Hardy, I wouldn't do that to that man. That man has suffered, and I want to tell you, he suffered. That whole sheriff's office up there has suffered, and I wouldn't go with that recommendation, ma'am. I send him to Charlie Chris. Somebody else opens his mail anyway. But Hardy, I'd cut him some slack. I'd cut him a little slack there.
But everybody, if you could act upon what Miss Lindy has stated and make some contact. It doesn't have to be "Why you dirty rotten rascal." It could be a Christmas card, because believe me, you get a little bit more with honey than you do with vinegar.
Right.
And you know, who knows? Who knows?
Okay, let's go back to bloggers, and we are talking bloggers who make money at it, as opposed to the armchair variety.
Okay.
There was some nonsense that went on yesterday by one Timothy Holmseth. I won't even stoop to mention his site online. I mean, where is this guy coming from? I mean, as far as I
Florida.
He's not coming from Florida. That's a good answer.
If he came down, I'd buy him a meal and say, "Hey, let's get to know some people." But so far, I've been getting anything but "Hi, how you doing?" So,
I mean, as far as I can see, he has made a complete ass of himself, all over the place. You know, I don't know how many letters of complaint that he sent to the FBI, PCSO. I think he grumbled at Fox and CNN. He grumbled at me for a little while until I politely but firmly suggested that he take his interest elsewhere. What is this guy trying to achieve?
fame. Nothing more, nothing less. Fame. He's making all kinds of demands, allegedly, to the Putnam County Sheriff's Department that he's got some kind of audio evidence that he knows where Haleigh is and where Misty was and this and that and the other, and he will only play it on national television. That's the key right there. If you've got evidence in a case where a child's missing, and you're more concerned about getting your likeness on television than you are in solving the case, or having some kind of a axe to grind with a person who wears a badge, and you're withholding things only for a national television audience, there's something there that's not right, and it needs to be addressed, and it needs to be adjusted. Feel sorry for the guy. I've never met him. Wish I had. You know, I get the feeling that the guy's got some talent. And who knows? You know, wish him the best of luck. But when you come out holding your hand wide open, and your bottom line of your goal is basically a national television audience, well, that says a lot, and it's unfortunate.
It's, in my opinion, very unfortunate. You know,
it's unfortunate for the child. It's unfortunate for the families. And the families ever caught wind that this cat's got some evidence to state where their child is, and he's holding out just so he could be on TV. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. H, that TV ain't as pretty as you think it is. It is a lot like sausage, much better to consume than it is to make. And I will tell you, your heart will get broken if all you want is a little time with Miss Nancy or Jane or with Mike Alanos. Well, Mike's a pretty good guy, but and so are the others. But what you're going to have to go through in order to get on television, it's not worth your time and trouble. But I tell you what, it's also the wrong thing to do to try to play blackmail with a badge. It's also the wrong thing to do to play blackmail with a family. It's also the wrong thing to do to play blackmail when a child's involved, and you just showed everybody what you're all about. So
I think that summed it up fairly eloquently.
I'm not on any medications today, so hang tight.
Well, why hold back something like that anyway? I mean, if we had got a hold of something like that, we'd be handing it over, and I mean, it wouldn't even have to put my name on it. Just as long as it was legal, and I mean, it was the truth, and it would find this child. I wouldn't care if anybody knew that it was me.
I doubt seriously that the tapes exist, and if they do,
well, I doubt it too. But I'm just saying, if this is the case, and he should, and I mean, it should be against the law for him to do this.
Well, I guess enough people have been CC'd on his emails that maybe that's already taken care of itself. But I don't know. The thing is that everybody's got a right to make a living, to do it the best way they know how, but do it on your skill and do it on your ability, and not your attempts at blackmail. I mean, that's horse hockey.
Well, I mean, every avenue I read, it was blackmail. I mean,
it appears
it wasn't. We've got this great story. We're going to be launching it tomorrow. The teaser. It was someone's got to do something for me, and I've got all this really great dirt. I mean, that's no way to go around business. I mean, TJ, your station would never do that.
Wouldn't employ any practices like that. No. No, that would be wrong. Just absolutely wrong. But it's very unfortunate, and it comes at a critical time when you have significant. You're now into double digits on the months of the child missing. You're now into a situation where everybody's nerves, everybody's emotions are fragile and raw. You're in a situation where if you've had these tapes or these audio tapes, why haven't you shown the world just how great you are and produce them and make a name for yourself if that's what you're trying to do? I've come forth with information in the past that I thought was absolutely correct. And in fact, in one case, it was absolutely correct, but it was 3 weeks premature. And we were talking about Tim Miller getting back into the picture with the Ronald side of the family. And I apologize my ass off for that. But I had it right, but I also had it wrong at the same time. I made a misstep, and I have made missteps. But you know what? I thought I was pursuing the truth. It turned out in that case I was telling what turned out to be what it was supposed to be. The announcement just came a bit premature. But we all make mistakes. But we all have to do what we think is right in a situation when it comes to bringing forth pertinent information for the public consumption and perhaps to aid in the recovery or rescue of a missing child. So, if it's about finding the child, hey, that's great. If it's about settling an old score with somebody, that's wrong. It's just wrong.
Absolutely. Let's take a call. We have someone coming in from the 904 area code. What's your name and what's your question or comment for us?
Well, Simon, good afternoon. That's Pastor John calling in. I want to thank everybody for the time that's given. Thank Cobra for what he's been saying. I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt of what's going on.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd like to set straight today is regardless of what anybody might think of me and anything that's been involved in this case, where we've tried to do the best that we can, there is no reason at all whatsoever to post pictures of my son standing next to a pedophile and trying to compare the two of them. I think it was just bad reporting on his part.
Are you talking about Mr. Holmseth's page?
Yes, I am.
Okay, he's trying to deny that, and he's trying to force everybody to make retractions and say it ain't so, Joe, just so you know.
Yeah, well, I received a phone call from Kim Cavacasio last night, a little bit after midnight, and until Tim was able to verify that my son was underage, he was willing to take it down, and I thank him for that. I just asked him to go a little bit further and do some good reporting and find out the age group of what he put on. Any parent that'd have to wake up in the morning and take a look at what's sitting on the Internet with having your son's picture sitting side by side next to a registered sex offender would send anybody off the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's ridiculous that anyone would do that. You must have been beside yourself.
Well, Simon, that's to put it lightly. It's been a long night for our household. My wife's been in tears. You know, I know there's a lot of things been said about my older son. He's a man. He's on his own. I have my own problems to deal with, my own accusations. But let's not bring our children into it, the little ones. It's not right. It's uncalled for.
Jan, how would you feel if, we managed to get ourselves into some story, some situation, and that they dragged your son in or my kids in?
I would be. There's just no stopping me. I would go after him tooth and nail. I wouldn't sit around and just wonder what's going on with it. He would be in so much trouble for doing that if my child was plastered all over like that. I think it's wrong, and I think it should be illegal. And I mean, they don't even give out the names of juveniles that have committed such crimes, but just to accuse. I didn't see the article, but from what I've heard, just to accuse these children of doing something that he has no proof of, and even if he did have proof, even if they're guilty of it, to put their names out on the Internet like that and a picture of them is just uncalled for.
Well, Jan, I do agree with you on that. I mean, my son he's a musician. He raps. He does have a spot out there. I think it's on my page or whatever it is. I'm just not familiar with all this stuff. And he does have his name out there. But that doesn't give anybody the right to put it side by side by a registered sex offender. Not at all.
That's right. Yeah, that's his choice to put it there, though. I mean, if the way Timothy Holmseth supposedly did this, like I said, I didn't see it, so I don't know with my own eyes. But I mean, that wasn't his choice. That wasn't your son's choice or your choice. You didn't give permission for him to put your son's picture on there like that.
No, I did not.
Are you planning on making some kind of formal complaint? Because I really do think that you have very good grounds.
Right now I've sought some legal counsel after the phone call last night. Those pictures were shipped to me. I just don't know where to go right now. Basically, ever since our involvement with the Haleigh case, which was very minimal as far as I am concerned with myself, has affected my income, my household, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have the funds right now to seek restitution, to get anybody to go out there. I just don't have it. The only thing that I am grateful is that Tim was kind enough last night, or wise enough as the case may be, to at least take him down to was able to do some more research. From what I understand, he holds credentials. Maybe some of you gentlemen on the panel would know better than I do as far as being a journalist. I'm sure there's somebody that overlooks those credentials, and they really need to overlook them. And I'd like to bring one thing up, is those pictures were shipped to him by another blogger who happens to be the administrator of quite a few sites there on the Internet, 74 to be sure about that. I checked that out this afternoon. So I don't know if I have legal recourse. I'm not a money-hungry person. We're not looking at that. We're just looking at getting this thing stopped. As a parent, and get back on track. And, hopefully if the FBI does get involved in this, or the government does get involved, we're 100% behind it. Let's get back on track and find out where Haleigh is at.
Right.
And leave the Regans alone, and, the Cobras alone, and the Picasios, and everybody else. I mean, we've all had our share here. We've all gotten stuck in the situation. Some of us asked for it. Some of us did not. But the point remains is I'm sitting here looking at the chat room going on back and forth right now. There's one thing that's being said about it, from everybody in that chat room. Where is Haleigh? And let's get back on track and get away from the sideshows.
Amen.
Oh, and I think everyone is in complete agreement with you. Where is Haleigh? She's the one that's missing. I mean, all of these sideshows are no more than that. They are sideshows.
And they are what they are, Simon, exactly like you put it. And I'd just like to close with one thing. I have made myself available to Putnam. I walked in there willing to take a lie detector test, the whole 9 yards. No one has taken me up on it. I have nothing to hide. I just want to be left alone with my family and try and pick up on a new life and go, and go on.
Your story is so similar to the one I heard from Richard Grund, Jesse Grund's father. He's been hounded, and there's no reason for it. There is absolutely no way Richard Grund had anything to do with the Kaylee Anthony deal. There's no way his son did. And yet, he's been vilified in the National Enquirer. I mean, it's just awful.
And I feel sorry for Pastor Grund. He's a fine man. I've had the opportunity to talk to him a couple times on the phone. One a lengthy phone call, the other one 2 shorts. It seems to me he's a man of God. And I know that where he's sitting in that pulpit right now, there's a lot of people that question a lot of stuff that's going on. And unfortunately, he's taking the brunt.
Yes, he is. And it's just not fair. TJ.
Yes.
You got to have a couple of thoughts or a question.
Well, all I know is that a lot of people have been drugged down through this. A lot of people tried to, at the time, do the right thing. And whether or not they did the right thing or if the right thing was misunderstood, price has been paid for it. And although we have a child who is missing, it seems like a thanks but no thanks deal. This should only involve the child. This should only involve what possibly happened to her. This should only involve issues pertaining to the facts of this case. What did I do? I fell off this horse. I reported on the circus, too. I reported on the circus thinking with the intent that this might actually have something to do with Haleigh. I think I'm going to have to take a stand now and say the circus ends for me, and it's only going to be the facts, ma'am. So we can avoid other people getting hurt and other people getting, their lives dragged through the mud for no real reason, except for maybe to kill a little time until a nugget of news in the search for this little girl comes to be. These are what we call time passers, and they're not worth it anymore. And to everybody who's been feeling like you've been, Pastor, and like everyone else who has felt like they've been drugged through some unfair, circumstances, I understand. And if I had anything to do with that, with you or with anyone, I personally, as a journalist, want to apologize. I don't believe that I have. But if I have, or if it was even construed or even thought that I might have, I need to be accountable here too, because I am trying to pass on the news as I see it, and as a human being, I'm wrong sometimes, and sometimes I misinterpret things, and sometimes I hurt feelings. In trying to get this all right with everybody, I need to atone for myself too, and I will take this time to do that. And I want to extend heartfelt prayers to you, Pastor, to you and your family, and to everyone else.
Well, I thank you very much, TJ. And the only thing I would say is keep doing what you're doing, reporting, getting it out to the bloggers that are behind the scenes right now who really have been tearing this thing apart, trying to find answers. Keep up the good work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, our prayers are with them. Like I said, I'm not very well liked, but that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when my family's involved, when people start shooting at our home, when people start trying to track my wife down where she works, and my children where they go to school. It's tough for them.
Yeah, there's no call for it whatsoever, and I don't know who these people would be. And Denny, I mean, you've probably seen this more than us. I mean, you've worked on several sides of the equation here in both reporting, writing, and being right there on the scenes of things.
It's and I can't help but be a little bit dismayed listening to what's happened on the show here today. I don't mean but I mean what's come out, and it really is. I don't know whether it speaks about our society or what, but the number of people who are being affected by this case and others of what happens when things run amok. And as the people in the chat room were saying, we seem to have lost focus of the main issue here, which is Haleigh.
Exactly.
To the so-called sideshows and so on. And when you take, I mean, there are so many victims here. You got, obviously, Haleigh, in this case, is the prime victim. Then you got her family and the people who legitimately care about her and so forth. But then you get people like the pastor, like Cobra, and you get all, and who knows when the truth finally comes out here, you could even have people possibly in law enforcement or whatever who are going to be criticized for what they did or didn't do. I mean, we won't know till that happens, but there can be an awful lot of victims in this thing, and you know, a lot of them unnecessary victims. The pastor said a while ago, maybe some people asked for it, but a lot of these people didn't, and they're just it's just disgusting to me, I got to say.
And you're right. A lot of people didn't ask for this. There are, and I think that everybody in the panel would agree with the statement I'm going to make. No matter what part of business we're in, whether it be in broadcasting, in law enforcement, in clergy, whatever, there's some good and there's some bad. It's unfortunately that some of the bad ones show up more than some of the good ones.
And can we, for just a second, talk a little bit about this this blogger with the alleged evidence or information about Haleigh? You know, we said something similar a few weeks ago. We were talking about the Anthony case and how the defense team said they had exonerating information, and we wondered if they really have it, why are they going to hold it till trial? Why wouldn't they, if it's a get-out-of-jail-free card, why not play it now and get their client released? And we questioned that. And now here you've got someone who claims to have information that's somehow valuable, and I think TJ and others have already raised this. Why in the world would you sit on that if you have someone's life hanging in the balance, possibly, or even if the allegation is that the child has been killed, you still want to get to the bottom of the case. It needs to be solved. Something needs to be done. And to sit on that, and, you know, another thing that struck me, if this individual is in fact trying to use this to get some kind of a financial windfall, I don't know how many cases I've heard about where they've said, okay, we have a witness here, a witness there, but we can't use them because they sold their story to the National Enquirer, or they sold their story to this one, or they're writing a book, and therefore the information they have isn't really of much value because their credibility is shot. I don't know what this guy has or claims to have, but you know, whatever it is, if it is anything legitimate, it could even be compromised if he's holding out for some kind of a financial gain. So, like I say, I've found the show today, the stuff that's come out on it, to be extremely unnerving to me, very annoying and upsetting to me.
Well, what I will say is if he does have any information that's that prevalent to the case, he needs to surrender it right away. Every day that goes by, every hour, every minute, there's a chance that child could still be alive. Many of us are praying that way. And to hold back information he's got, you know, going for a national spot, is just ludicrous.
Oh, it's a horrible situation. I mean, just horrible. I mean, how can anyone sit on something? I mean, TJ, you and I get tips. What do we do with them?
We pass them right along to Haleigh at putnamsheriff.org without even breathing.
Right.
without even breathing. I pass those along before I even read them. Because they need it first, I'll read it second. That's where it goes, I guarantee you. And if there's something that needs to go directly to the FBI, I pretty much know when where it's coming. It goes there too. It goes there first sometimes. But 99.9% of them go to Haleigh at PutnamSheriff.org.
And basically, that's where they should be going. It should go to a law enforcement agency as soon as you get it, which is what you all do. Some people choose not to, and that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong for the mother. It's wrong for the mother and the father. It's wrong for the grandparents. It's wrong for the family. It's wrong for America to have to suffer here if somebody has that kind of information that could put an opening and find a child or a closing on the case, whichever way it goes.
TJ.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask this? We're talking about people who get into some of these things for financial gain,
yes,
more so than trying to solve the problem. And don't you think that if you do the right thing, if you have legitimate information or think you do, and you pass it to the right people to try to solve a problem, don't you think that if you do that, eventually you're going to get your recognition? I mean, it might not come that day. You might not get on the news first. Maybe the police say, we want to thank so-and-so for passing information on or whatever, but at some point down the road, if you've done the right thing, the information is valid, you're going to get your recognition and maybe some financial reward if that's what you're after. But it should come later, not first.
Well, Denny Griffin, you have been to many a press conference. You have, and I know you have, where the thank you list goes on longer than the press conference.
Yes.
Everyone who participates gets an acknowledgement. If it's a big case that needed to be solved, even the guy who put gasoline in one of the cars at the motor pool gets a nod and a recognition at these things. Yes, you will be recognized, especially in a case like this. If you have it, if you're looking for recognition, do the right thing, and the recognition is yours. To hold it out as like it's being, as it appears to be presented at this point, is unconscionable.
But I would like to ask a question about that, though. I mean, just in this case, how would he feel if this was his child?
I don't know. I'm not the person.
Or somebody else. No, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
How would he feel if somebody else had this kind of information that he's claiming to have, and they were blackmailing them to be able to do it before he released it? I wonder how he would feel if it was his child that was out there missing.
Jan,
I don't know
I'm sorry
how anybody can do that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it would seem to me, the statement that you just made, that's the difference between a professional and what you all do and somebody who wants to try and be a professional. Recognition should be getting to see some pictures or just knowing that little girl is opening some presents under the Christmas tree this year.
Exactly.
That's the recognition that's needed, just to see the girl back home.
I mean, I wouldn't care. Everybody likes to be known, but in a case like this, when it comes to a child's life, you don't bargain with a child's life. There just is that should be as big against the law as it is to go ahead and kidnap one or to abuse them to me, that's just as bad almost. So it's sad.
Well, I am pretty certain that if he does have a smoking gun and he doesn't turn it over to law enforcement, he's going to be in one pile of hurt.
That's because different agencies of law enforcement would probably like to have an appointment to meet and discuss this so-called claim. And maybe that's the loggerhead to which this is being thrust, but who knows?
Either that or it's the boy that's been crying wolf for too many months, and they're just not paying attention to him. I hope he has something that can prove where Haleigh is right now.
I do too.
Yeah, that would be great, but don't blackmail anybody to use it just like you want it to be used.
I'll tell you what. I'm pretty certain I can speak for TJ here on this one. You know, if I had some absolute smoking gun, I'd tell TJ I had the absolute smoking gun. I'd share it with him, and I'd say, we, number one, need to talk to law enforcement. Number two, if they let us, we launch at the same time.
Yeah, that's the way we've been operating so far, and I don't see that changing.
Right. I'm not going to sit on the smoking gun and, you know, try.
I'm going to show that smoking gun to somebody who can do something with it positively, and then then that's the complete story, you know. And then we release the story after the right people have the said gun.
Right.
But all this does is make everybody on edge even more. I mean, the bloggers right now, they're all not just the bloggers, but the reporters like us and like TJ and Cobra and Denny and everybody else that has been following this case are emotionally a wreck right now.
And don't forget the good 98% of those who participate in the discussion boards too. They're emotionally engaged.
That's
in
what
this.
Yeah. But they're just, I mean, everybody is sitting on the edge right now, and they want, you know, they go grab at every little thing that they hear, and they take it from there, and in hopes that, okay, maybe this is true. And then it turns out not to be, and then they let down again on it. And, I mean, that's what causes all this circus crap that they keep coming out with. And you don't know what's true and what isn't true. And it's just taking, like everybody says, it's taking the focus away from actually finding our little Haleigh.
It also takes a toll on everyone involved.
Yes, it does.
I know that Bill.
I have another question.
Sure.
Sorry, this is Lindy. You know, the rumor thing, and I never know what's true or not true on the websites and stuff. I had found a link from your site, Simon, that had an article like, I guess like a blog site or something that you had posted about the gutter with Misty. Mm-hmm. That story about the party and all that. And that was really you that wrote that?
It was me that wrote it. And
okay. I just didn't know, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm being hacked and I'm going to some bogus site.
No. It's absolutely not a bogus site. I should probably tell the story about that one. I don't wish to name my source. In fact, I got the story through an intermediary. However, that story, as far as I can tell, is entirely true. Misty was engaged in sex, drugs, and probably rock and roll, although they didn't mention what music was being played.
Banjos. Sorry.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I just wanted to know if you had wrote it.
Oh, no.
It was a little bit different from what Simon usually writes.
Right. I just didn't feel that the quote involved quite fitted the blogger news format. But it was entertaining, and I did actually tone the story down from the original version.
Thank God.
Which, yeah, thank God, my wife says. Which actually, now we're talking about it, TJ, you probably read that story.
I'm afraid I did not. But I tell you what, it's the same story that's been circulating locally, so I'll put it that.
Right. And do we have an update on how she spent her 18th birthday?
No, sir, I don't have anything on that.
Oh, that's kind of a shame. I'm sure it was a repeat performance.
Well, we don't know that.
But all I do know is that in this very long search, we've seen marriages, we've seen divorces, we've seen engagements, we've seen, well, what appears to be a breakup. We've seen insults hurled with not a whole lot of fact behind them. We've had, the internet being used as a battleground and perhaps maybe even become a new sport to some. But this search has been long. This search has been over 10 months. This search has still not found Haleigh at this point. And all I can say is, folks, I don't know what other mountains we got to move, what other stones we have to unturn. I think the suggestion of sending a Christmas card or an email to Governor Charlie Crist, he's the guy with the very orange complexion, kind of looks like the Cheeto Tiger. He would really like to get your email, and he would really like to have somebody read it to him and remind him that he has a state to run and that there are children missing in this state, because he made some stupid-ass statement saying, hey, they just hear about it more because it's in Florida, that I think he wishes he could take back. I think he made that a couple months ago. And if we could remind him that, yes, we do have missing children, and this is a missing child whom a lot of people in the United States of America have taken in as their own through some kind of phenomenon, that something needs to be done, and something needs to be done now, and he could perhaps maybe outdistance that offhand comment he made by getting some resolution to this case. I think he made it during the Summer Thompson abduction. But, again, it'll be a good wake-up call to Governor Sunshine and remind him he still has a state to run before he runs for U.S. Senate.
That was kind of mean.
No, it was kind of honest. I'm not on medication today. I am here in the naked raw with all my nerves exposed and my soul to be examined. It's that time.
Denny,
if I may say something real fast, Simon.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, with everything that's been going on your blog network, I think because I've been talking to a lot of people in the News Journal, a lot of attorneys and whatnot, I think that your station might be the proving ground of what's to come about as far as policing up in the near future. I think because of what's come out of this and the good intentions of many of the people, many of the bloggers, many of your listeners, I think that we're starting to see things like with Timothy and whatnot. I think somewhere down the line, some good is going to come out of this. I believe that.
I do too. And with every good thing that happens in the end, there are a lot of mistakes. There are a lot of trials and errors. And I'm with you, Pastor. I think this is going to be the proving ground, at least the case where people analyze this and say, hey, where do we go from here? How do we make this better? How do we make this cleaner? How do we make this work for America?
I know for sure. I've made mistakes. TJ is more than happy to admit he's made mistakes, but our hearts are in the right place. We want to help. That's our mission.
Wow.
And I think you're doing a fine job of it. And I look forward to your next show, and hopefully with each show that goes by, maybe we'll get some more information on this. And just maybe some of the people who are interrupting this going on investigation will come forward and surrender some of that information or that smoking gun that we've heard so much about.
Oh, if there's a smoking gun, I'll want to see it. And I'll tell you what, as soon as I get it, I'll forward it to law enforcement before I even open it.
Good man.
There you go, folks. I got to hop off and take my kids someplace. I wish you all the best and a safe Christmas. Thank you very much for your time.
God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, and the same to you.
Okay.
All right, Denny. Let's go back to you. the quiet man, the man that listens. What have you been listening and learning?
Well, I think I vented quite a bit today, actually, about how upset I am about this whole thing. And, we've had, a little over 10 months now of this. And everybody's frustration level and stress level is obviously quite high. And if you eliminate the sideshows, if you ignore them and just look at Haleigh and the disappearance, we don't really seem to be all that much closer than we were 10 months ago to a resolution. And there's been a lot of these so-called sideshows and this and that. And every once in a while, something that looks somewhat promising from the solving the case aspect shows up, but then seems to diminish. It's like a temporary flash in the pan thing. And I think today really it reinforced what I already knew, but hadn't really been on the top of my agenda, which is the ruin of many people's lives, or at least the detriment of many people's lives. Maybe ruin is a little too strong, but what people are going through because of this thing. And like I say, it's just I'm actually depressed today. I really am, because we've had on most shows we talk a little about it, but today it's been, with Cobra and the pastor and so forth, it's really been a full plate of this. And I think it really brought to my attention the frustration and what's happening here and all the people whose lives are being affected by it.
TJ, your thoughts?
To everybody everywhere, let's let our hearts and souls be turned toward Haleigh and her family, and not alone. Find her. Let's find her. We have a lot of people who listen to this show, not only here in the United States, but also in Great Britain, Australia, and even our neighbors in Canada who live upstairs from the party that's rocking below. Everybody everywhere, just keep your eyes on the child. Keep your eyes on the child. Keep your eyes on the child. And hit the reset button, and make things right with yourselves.
Jan, I'd like to get your wrap-up comments.
Let everybody just put all their differences aside when they don't like this or they don't like that, and let them come together and bring this little girl home. And, the Christmas holidays is so special. Let her come home so she can be with her little brother and her family that she loves and that loves her. And it's way past time for her to come home. And just bring her home. And I don't know, there's nothing really other I can say. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. No. Jen's crying.
It's okay. It's going around today. It's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
This is Simon Barrett, and I want to thank everyone that has listened in today and everyone that has participated. A hard show to make. We are so close to Christmas, and that there is so little to celebrate in the name of Haleigh Cummings. Hopefully that will be fixed soon. I'm sure we'll all talk again next week. Till then, this is Simon and Jan Barrett wishing everyone a great day.